Okay, failure. We've all been there. Felt that awful sting.
Absolutely. It's pretty universal.
But what if that feeling wasn't actually the end? Today we're doing a deep dive into this message we received, looking at how to reframe failure.
Yeah, not seeing it as like a dead end, but more like a beginning, a launch pad for growth, maybe.
Exactly. The mission here is to explore how setbacks can actually be, well, crucial steps forward
Yeah.
based on what our source says about understanding these tough times.
And what's really interesting straight away is this idea of failure as a
A
reflection.
reflection, how so?
Well, the source suggests it's not some final judgment on you. It's more like a mirror.
Okay.
It shows you where you are right now, highlights areas you might need to develop.
So every stumble, every mistake, it holds a lesson.
Every stumble, every setback, every mistake is just a lesson wrapped in pain. That's the quote. Painful, maybe, but a lesson nonetheless.
Wrapped in pain. That's quite a phrase. It acknowledges the hurt but points to the value.
Right. And it links directly to this other key idea. No one gets better by avoiding failure. We grow by going through it.
You can't just sidestep the tough stuff if you want to improve.
Exactly. It's the actual engagement with what went wrong that fuels progress. You have to look at it.
Which, when you think about it, makes sense.
Yeah.
Think about great athletes or inventors.
Oh, totally. Their stories are often full of failures, big ones sometimes.
Right. It wasn't that they never failed, it's that they kept going despite failing. They learned from it.
That resilience is key. And that brings us to the choice we all face after a setback.
The choice.
Yeah,
The source puts it really starkly. When we fail, we get a choice.
simple as that.
We can either stay down or get up smarter, stronger, and hungrier.
That's the pivot point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Stay defeated or use it as fuel, getting up smarter.
Yeah, not just getting up, but getting up with new information, new resolve.
Precisely. And this ties into how we define ourselves.
No.
The source says, you are not defined by your failure.
Oh, okay, that's important.
You are defined by how you respond to them. The event itself is one thing, your reaction is another. That's what shapes you.
So it's not about pretending failure doesn't suck, because it usually does.
No, not at all. The message is pretty clear. Growth is never easy. It acknowledges the difficulty,
Right.
but it's always worth it. The struggle, the setbacks, they aren't deviations from the path of growth. They are the path.
So difficulty is inherent to getting better. You kind of have to expect it.
You do. And it helps to take a longer view. Think about the big picture.
Keep going, keep learning, keep making those small adjustments.
Exactly. It's about persistence. The source hints that if you keep at it, you'll often look back later and realize
Realize what?
that those past failures, the ones that felt so bad at the time, were actually laying the groundwork for your current strength. They built something in you.
Wow. That's a powerful reframe. So the big takeaway then is we need to fundamentally change how we see failure.
I think so. Less like a verdict and more like data. Crucial information for the journey. A necessary part of improving.
Okay, so not an enemy, but maybe an uncomfortable teacher.
Something like that. An unavoidable part of the process, anyway.
So maybe a final thought for everyone listening. Think back to a failure you experienced. Doesn't have to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
Can you pinpoint now, maybe with some distance, what you actually learned from it?
Yeah, what lesson was sort of hidden in there? And how might that experience looking back have actually helped you grow?
Maybe connecting those dots.
Yeah.
That's how you really start to harness the power of setbacks.
I think that's exactly it. Understanding that link between the fall and the getting up stronger.